It works. Hearing God's voice really works. The last several weeks, we've explained the process of hearing God's voice. Today, I'm going to share several examples from this week of how God's voice revealed an old Asperger pattern that needed to change and ultimately led to breakthrough. Hi, I'm Steve.
And I'm Lib. And together, we're Lib and Steve. Hosea 2:15 is a hope-filled verse that promises to restore the very broken people of Israel. It says, I will return her vineyards to her and transform the valley of trouble into a gateway of hope. She will give herself to me there as she did long ago when she was young, when I freed her from her captivity in Egypt. This story in the Bible is about a time when the people of Israel had developed extreme admiration for something other than God. In other words, idolatry. Things had gotten really out of control. God needed to rescue them, and he had a moment where he, out of love, said, enough. Then he promised reconciliation and restoration. So Steve, what spoke to you about this verse?
What impresses me is God's heart for relationship and intimacy. The people addressed in the Hosea passage were engaged in idolatry, yet God in his love pursued connection. He endeavored to transform this brokenness, this valley of trouble, into a passage of hope and restoration. As a former Asperger, knowing that God wants to change and transform is such a great comfort.
That is just like God, to take brokenness and transform it into a doorway of hope. The phrase doorway of hope has a beautiful meaning. Here, hope is not like something you're just casually waiting or wishing for. It means expectant hope, like a pregnant woman expecting a baby. It also means a cord to hold on to. Our own journey has revealed the depth of this kind of hope that God offers. What was once a wasteland is now a door we have walked through. And here you are, Steve, telling stories of how God is returning your vineyard, as the Hosea passage says. How did hearing God's voice this week help you in this process?
I have come to realize that our default heart posture should be peace. The fruit of the Spirit should always be present. If it's not, something is wrong. On Tuesday morning, I was reflecting on a public meeting we had attended the night before. I realized peace was missing. I asked God what was going on. Why this lack of peace? As God and I processed this meeting, I came to realize that in the Aspie days, I could never fit into a group setting because I always felt out of place. I learned to attack the group, criticize the people, and demean their decisions as a coping mechanism to make myself feel better.
When you shared that with me, I realized how profoundly important this revelation was. This was a pervasive pattern that hinders the ability to develop healthy connection. This was amazing. Would you be willing to read what God told you?
Sure. Steve, good work yesterday pressing into the whole area of you and group dynamics. I know you have felt like you are or were on the outside, isolated and marginalized, but you now realize people, though some may have been, were not purposely or consciously doing that to you, but Asperger's was preventing or limiting that interaction. You developed coping mechanisms that now that you are healed are not helpful. This concept is common to Aspies.
Wow, that just blows me away. I think that will be a cord of hope to someone listening. Maybe someone has a current struggle with this identical pattern. And now you know, it can be revealed and healed. Steve, have you done anything with this thought since Tuesday?
In fact, I have. The Lord has brought to mind various group dynamics and situations from my past that were either hurtful or I'd hoped for a different outcome. I've been able to consider those memories through this new understanding and grant forgiveness to all those involved and extend grace to the outcomes. This has brought a new freedom.
It's like you walked through a door of hope. How do you anticipate this will impact your future?
I feel a new peace when I consider groups and group dynamics. I no longer have to strive to be accepted or considered a cool kid. I know God has totally and completely got me. He is such a good Father, and I have His approval. This will free me to enter into group settings, free to establish relationships, and offer my wisdom and insight without striving or being anxious, merely loving and serving.
Very awesome. I can't wait for you to try this out. I love freedom and peace in my own soul, so I can sense your own joy over this newfound freedom.
I'll keep you posted how I do it in future group dynamics.
Wonderful. And remember, our breakthrough makes a way for your breakthrough. And also remember, we would love to hear from you how journaling is going. Post a comment or email us.
Hope you all have a great week, and please like us and subscribe, and share this with anyone who could be blessed.